If the algorithm gods have ever sent you to the more spiritual, horoscopy, tarot card side of the internet, then you've probably come across words like set your intention with the new moon, manifest with the full moon, and you're just like, why? Why this day? Why not some other day? And what even is the full moon? So I recently went on this trip to Himachal to this temple called Jogi Banga, where my sister's in-laws performed a Poornmaashi Puja. And since I've been pondering around the significance of the moon in our spiritual journey for quite some time now, I thought I'd take this opportunity to share my insights through this video. So the moon is a satellite that revolves around the earth, while the earth is simultaneously revolving around the sun. So the entire time that it takes for the moon to complete one cycle around the earth is 29.5 days, which is one lunar month. Now you know that the moon does not have its own light. Instead, it gets illuminated by the light of the sun. And depending on where the moon is in its cycle around the earth, a different part of the moon gets illuminated. So here's a picture to better demonstrate that. And as you can see, the moon isn't actually ever fully illuminated, but the side which faces the earth, when that is fully illuminated, that, my friends, is called Poornmaashi, or the full moon. So full moon, what we Hindus celebrate as Poornmaashi, is when we get the most amount of moonlight on the earth, whereas Amavasya, or the new moon, is when we get absolutely no moonlight on the earth, and it is often depicted as a very horrific event in Hindi movies or shows. Now when we receive full moonlight, we celebrate it, but when we don't have any moonlight, that period, Amavasya, is associated with tantra practices, ghosts, spirits. So it's safe to say that there has to be some divinity in moonlight, जिसकी absence में ये सारे भूत प्रेत survive कर पाते हैं. Now, I'm just talking about the perception we have of Amavasya as a society, but there has to be a reason why we remember our ancestors with the onset of Amavasya, which is called Shraddh, and on the opposite end, on full moon, we worship the gods. It's a total contrast. It is the next morning. ये हमारे rooms थे. एंड इतना तो मैं नहाने में इतना भगवान का नाम नहीं लिया जितना आज लिया. देखो कितनी ओस है. So coming back to the puja that I witnessed, it was actually a Udhyapana puja. That happened after my sister's mother-in-law and her two aunts actually kept fast for many consecutive full moon days, and then finally to complete their devotion एक उद्यापन उन्होंने करा. तो ये उद्यापन पूजा थी. But the question is, why do people keep a fast on this day anyways? So this is how it goes. The gravitational pull of the moon on the earth has so much impact that it directly affects the tides of the ocean, which are a lot higher during the full moon. You've probably studied this. This is an actual true phenomena that happens. And in fact, some creatures that are found on the seacoast, they're accustomed to the moonlight, and so much they bury themselves from predators during the high tides, and in the lower tides is when they scavenge for food. Now, just like those sea creatures, spiritualists believe that the moon has a direct effect on us and our body as well. And when I asked my mom, who is an astrologer, about this, like, does it actually have an effect on the human body? Then she said yes, our emotions are a lot more elevated during the full moon, and we will be a lot more emotional during this time. But the degree of emotions experienced will be different for everyone, because it totally depends on how the moon is naturally placed in your birth chart. But yes, the moon affects all human beings, some more than others. Take for example what Sadhguru says about this. It is like turning up the volume on the microphone. The talk remains the same, but suddenly it is louder and clearer. Similarly, if there was a little madness earlier, when you give it a little extra energy or increase the flow of energy, everything seems to be magnified. The energy is a little higher on the full moon day. It is not just madness that is magnified. If you are peaceful, you become more peaceful. If you are joyous, you become more joyous. Whatever is your quality, it gets pushed up. But even if you are a very loving person, your love will overflow on Poornami. Another aspect is that the planet has moved into a certain position in relation with its satellite, which makes the vibrations very direct and forceful. The tides rise on this day because of the gravitational pull of the moon. The water is spilling over and trying to jump up. Now he also goes on to say that when the gravitational pull of the earth makes the ocean jump, it also makes the blood in our veins jump, and when there is increase of blood flow to your brain, whatever quality is there will get enhanced. Now there is no evidence to support this theory from the West, but if Vedic astrology, which is as old or even older than Western science, then I think it's of extreme significance. Plus, it's such a difficult thing to research because the moon in everyone's birth chart is different and it affects everyone very differently. For example, my moon in my birth chart is actually extremely weak. Now, I don't know the exact placements, but my mom tells me that Rahu is affecting it and it's almost in a peeded state, or what you would say wounded, which is why I am actually very weak emotionally, which has manifested in my life as a mental illness, which is, depression and anxiety, which I've suffered from on years on end now. But that was just for like a reference and example that everyone's moon is different. So anyways, why would anyone fast on this day? Like, why did my sister's mother-in-law and her two aunts fast on this day? Now there's also no concrete answer for this as well, because many people fast for different reasons. So one assumption of this could be that usually in the Hindu calendar, fasting usually happens in transitional periods. So on Navratri, Hindus usually fast because a transition is happening from one season to the other, which is why we slow down our food intake, because our body needs rest and we don't want to overwhelm our body so that it doesn't get sick during the transition. So that is one reason. Similarly, it is believed that the gravitational pull of the moon physically slows down our metabolism, which is why we should also slow down our food intake, which is why some people may fast. And honestly, the Navratri reason really makes sense. So if some future study comes out where they're like, oh, on full moon actually there is some effect on human body, like doctors are still studying the human body and people are still studying space, कोई surprise नहीं होगा कि Vedic science से एक दिन Western science match करने लग जाए, The second reason why somebody may keep a fast is because they want to offer their devotion to God. As you know that in our Hindu mythology, each and every planet has their own story and also they're all worshipped. Now you can worship any god that you like. But I noticed particularly in this puja that Vishnu ji was being worshipped and the Satya Narayan Katha was being read out loud, and Satya Narayan ji is an incarnation of Vishnu. So for the Udhyapan, a number of things were being offered to the god. There was a mattress, a pillow, bed sheets, blankets, a rice cooker, and some grains. Basically anything and everything that you would need in a household. And the Pandit ji was saying कि इस bed को ऐसे लगाओ जैसे आप भगवान जी के लिए लगा रहे हो, like make the bed as if you were making it for the gods. So I was like, okay, but why only Vishnu ji was being worshipped? We have so many gods, right? Like why only was it him that was being worshipped? And you can search this, because I tried searching this on the internet, and unless you've actually read the sacred texts and maybe somebody's made a video on it after reading them, will you find an answer to this? I honestly didn't. Nothing concrete enough, but I asked my mom for a general understanding, and she said, so how we have the sacred trinity. So we have Brahma, who is the creator, Vishnu, who is the protector, and Mahesh, who is the destroyer. So the reason why we worship Vishnu is because he's the one who's had multiple incarnations on earth, and he's also the one that has had a sansarik jivan, or a worldly life. And also his wife is Lakshmi, which further exemplifies them as being more associated with earthly desires on this present earth, and that is kind of what we associate abundance and peace with in this life of humans. Like, I hope you get what I'm saying. Now, you can also worship Shivji on this day, but if you have like a traditional puja like the one in Jogi Banga, then usually Vishnuji is worshipped. Also, as a modern Hindu, when I see Shivji with the little moon on his head, I see him as a peace lover, a meditator, and my mom said that there's a reason why he is moksha data, and his idol is always there in cremation grounds, because he is kind of the symbol of death. And death not in a negative way, because I've seen enough tarot card readings that death is not negative. Actually, it means renewal, because everything needs new beginnings, and it's the law of nature that whatever has come on this earth also has to go. So I think that's sort of the reason why we remember different gods in different periods of our lives. I think that's something that when I was scripting for this, I came to realize. So coming back to Vishnu, who is the protector on earth for us, right? Whether it's us worshipping him as Ram on Diwali, as Krishna on Janmashtami, or as Vishnu on Poornmaashi. So just out of curiosity, I don't know why, I actually looked up if the West, or science, considers the moon as a protector, because we as Hindus worship Vishnu as the protector on a full moon night. And there is something really cool that I found. So according to an article on Yale, 4 billion years ago, the sun was a lot more closer than the earth than it is today, and that gave it shorter days. And because it was so close, it was a lot more volatile. Now planets have what is called a magnetic field. That magnetic field protects them from solar particles or radiation that it receives. So currently, the earth has a magnetic field to protect itself, but the moon does not. However, in the recent findings, it's been discovered that that wasn't always the case. The moon actually used to have a magnetic field which it gave away to the earth to protect it against the volatile sun, and so the magnetic field of the moon acted as a second shield to protect the earth from the sun. Isn't that amazing that the moon was quite literally a protector? I just thought it was really interesting that NASA websites and Hinduism is both calling the moon a protector of the earth. It's kind of really fascinating. I recently heard on a podcast as well the fact that the earth revolves around the sun was mentioned in Hindu sacred texts way before it was discovered by the West, which is pretty profound. So for the final part of the video, how can we as individuals use the energy of the moon in our spiritual journey? So you've either skipped all the way to this part using the timestamps in my video, or you have actually watched all the way through. Number 1, use the new moon to perform cleansing rituals. New moon or Amavasya, it's really regarded in Western astrology as a time that you should do aura cleansing. You can, do spring cleaning. It's just a really good time to get rid of bad energy. Set your intentions for the month. And since we're talking about Western astrology, people usually use the full moon to manifest their desires. So they would write letters to themselves in the future, because your energy is 100 times at that time. And so basically, you know how we are all, just energy, so the vibration of everything is higher. And so if you want to communicate, right, you can literally use your energy to communicate to the universe what you want, because everything is vibrating at a higher frequency during that time, including ourselves. So that is why you hear all of these spiritual YouTubers with manifesting channels talk about the full moon so much. And of course, for people who believe in Vedic astrology, we celebrate Poornmaashi, and you can do your own rituals. You don't have to follow what the world is doing, to be honest. So the next thing I want to talk about is a couple of remedies. So you're spiritually inclined but you have no idea about your birth chart. However, you do feel emotionally drained. You tend to be on the sadder, more depressed side of things. So in that case, there are few remedies that you can do to please the planet moon. And moon represents hamara man, our emotions in astrology. So pleasing the moon can make you emotionally very strong. So if you're emotionally very weak, there is a good chance that you have a bad moon. However, that you should get your birth chart checked. But these remedies are so easy that they would most probably not harm you. However, do take them still with a pill of precaution. Number 1, if you are a water sign, which is Scorpio, Pisces and Cancer, you should not waste water, because water is literally like your life. These signs literally live in the water. So don't waste water. That will literally emotionally drain you. And I'm talking about moon signs. Don't leave the tap running, don't spill water, don't waste water. Instead, you should water the plants, which is something that my mom always makes me do when my energy is drained and when I'm feeling upset. Instead, water the plants and give water to other animals and creatures. So don't waste it. In fact, try to utilize it and give it to people. So number 2 is don't use curse words, especially the curse words that have the word mother in it, because we see Chandrama as, it's like, our mom, mother, and the sun in astrology is considered our father. So if we curse our mother, or any mother for that matter, then our moon is going to get weakened, which is not good. And I know that's very difficult living in Delhi. However, my mom strictly says that I should not swear and definitely not use words that curse the mother. If you're a guy, this actually might mean, I'm not sure, this actually might not just ruin your moon but also your prosperity, because how you treat the woman in your family or how you treat women in general has a direct correlation with the prosperity you receive in your life. Which is why actually I think that my mom also makes me give food to Gai Mata, because that is also our Mata. And because from a young age, when we're like being fed cow's milk, she's literally a second mother to us. So the third is consume milk and water. So similarly, how wasting water drains you, consuming water actually energizes you. And I'm absolutely terrible at this, because A, I'm lactose intolerant, and second, I am the most dehydrated person that you will ever meet in your life. And people don't believe me, because apparently I have really nice skin and it kind of shows on camera, but that's not true, because I'm very dehydrated. And usually people who are not emotionally stable don't drink a lot of water. So drink a lot of water, even according to astrology. And the last one is that my mom makes me sit in the moonlight on Poornmaashi, because she says that I should look at the moon and absorb all the positivity, which is something that you should do if you have unstable emotions. But all of the tips that I've given, please take them with a pill of precaution and don't just do anything because I said so. You should only do it like if you're on the depressed side of things. This is what my mom makes me do. And also, if you'd like to reach out to my mother for a personal consultation, then you can. I'll note down her number in the description box. But yeah, if you enjoy this video and you have your own experiences of spirituality, or you think that I missed something, or you have some comments, let me know in the comment section below. I read all comments and I reply to all comments. थैंक यू. साडी वीडियो पसंद आई तो लाइक द कमेंट जरूर करियो और साडी नवी वीडियो लिए सब्सक्राइब टू SuriNotSorry.